Hello viewers, today we are here to study about consumption economics, which is a part of consumer economics. In this topic, we are going to study about who is a consumer, what are the rights and responsibilities of the consumer. Meaning and definition. Consumption plays a major role in economics. Many economists have studied about consumption and their key interest lies in the relationship between consumption and income. Many economists have defined consumption in various ways, one of which states that consumption is the only final purchase of goods and services by an individual. Consumption does not include fixed investments or government paying amounts for some policies or programs. Other economists have also defined consumption in different ways, out of which one of them states that it's an aggregate of all the economic activities which does not include the design, production, marketing of the goods and services. Definitions. Economics. Economics is the social science that deals with the production, distribution and consumption of goods and services with economics and management of economics and economic systems. This mainly means that it is relevant to financial considerations. Consumption. Consumption is the process in which a substance is used, destroyed or transformed into something else for its use. So, consumption is the use of goods and services in a particular period of time. Production. Production is the process in which material inputs and immaterial inputs are combined together to make something that can be consumed. So, it is a process in which the end product, the goods, are manufactured. Family. The fundamental social group in a society typically consists of parents and their children. A family is defined as a group of persons who are closely related by blood, marriage or adoption and who live under a single roof. Income. The amount or the equivalent received during a period of time in exchange of labor or service for the sales or the service that has been provided. Consumption expenditure. Expenses that are incurred in consumption opposed to the expenses that are incurred in production of the goods or services. It is the purchase of goods and services for the use by the households. Family as a decision-making unit of household. Consumption and household production. Consumption, as we have defined it earlier, is the only final purchase of goods or services. Many economists have defined consumption in different ways. Consumption is defined in a part of comparison to production. So, consumption has been defined in various ways, one of which we have already seen as an aggregate of all the economic activities, which does not mainly include the design, production, manufacturing and the marketing of the goods. So, in short, fixed investments or money spent on policies by government or public agencies do not fall into consumption category. They have a separate category of their own. So, in short, finally, again, if we have to define consumption, consumption is mainly the final purchase of goods or services by an individual. Household influences for marketing strategies. How exactly households influence the marketing strategy? If we have to look into it, there are interdependent variables that can be looked into it. Household unit, the stage of the household life cycle, the household decision process are the factors which influence the consumer from purchasing or also the behavior pattern of the consumption of the consumers. This in turn is affected by the marketing strategies. So, in short, in market, the marketers have to be well aware of whom are they aiming at, that is what are the families, what are the composition of the families, what is the age group of the families, so that whatever they are marketing it, that actually gets embedded into the consumer and how that can influence them in purchasing it. So in short, what we can actually say is, for the marketing strategy, it is important for the marketers to know about the families and the household, because to impart lifestyle and consumption values to their members, to make the consumer decisions, to make several joint purchase decisions, prime target market for the goods and services. So in short, if we have to say, the household unit, the stage at which the household life cycle is there, and what is the age group of the household family members, all these three factors influence a consumer in their purchasing behavior. In short, this has to be studied well by the marketers to influence the consumer to purchase the product. So the critical consumption factor of the household is the number of people, number of adults, number of children who are living in the family. No two people have the same needs and wants. So the age group and the composition of the family mainly affects the market. That is, if a family has more children, then their purchasing is more towards the needs of the children, the needs of them, the toys, their miscellaneous items, their junk food, all these is the priority of the family. But a family, if it consists of two adults, then their needs and wants are completely different from the family which we have stated previously. So the family which would have two people, their expenditure would be much lesser than their income, because their needs and wants are limited. So therefore, the household influence can be seen immensely on the marketing strategy. Hence, marketers have to be very careful on what exactly they are promoting and who are their consumers, what is the target group, is very important for the marketers. Consumer definitions. Who is a consumer? We have been talking about consumer. Who is a consumer? Consumer is the one who consumes the goods or services. That is, one who acquires goods and services for ultimate consumption or use by a person, family, or a household. Consumer goes for shopping, purchases goods or services, whatever he can afford to accomplish his economic goals. So in short, if we have to define a consumer, anybody who consumes goods, services, spends money to obtain them, uses them to satisfy his or her own needs or goals. That is a consumer. We've been talking about goods, services. What are goods? Goods, products that are purchased for consumption by an average consumer. So they are finally the goods, the consumer goods, the end results of the production or the manufacturing end. So what exactly a consumer sees or what exactly a consumer purchases is the goods. So whatever that has come out of a result of production or manufacturing process that can be seen in the stores is a goods. These can be food items, clothes, your pens, your papers, even automobiles, television sets, air conditions, all these are goods. But what about services? Services are intangible. Services are provided by other people. That is, I need a driver. I am taking the service of a driver. So that is a service that I am taking from the other person, for which, for the duration of time that he provides his service, we pay him a certain amount. So services are those which we take from other people. Those can be doctors, lawyers, electricians, drivers, all these are services that we are taking from other people. So this is not something that we are doing free of cost or under a contract of sale. No, it's purely a potential that we are taking from the other person, in return to which we render money for their services. Consumerism, rights and responsibilities of consumers, safety, choose, heard, informed, redress, healthy environment. We have heard about consumer, goods, services. What exactly is consumerism? Consumerism is derived from two words. One is consumer, who consumes or who uses the goods or services. The other ism means movement. So the movement that is involved to the utmost need of consumer is consumerism. That is the movement by consumers to ensure that a fair deal is being given to them by dealers, manufacturers or the service providers. The movement may be regarded an attempt by an individual consumer activist or a consumer association for creating consumer awareness about the malpractices that are happening in the market. The main objective of consumer movement would be to help the consumer from avoiding the exploitation from the market and to help him to know the rights and responsibilities towards the economic market. Consumer rights and responsibilities. A right is an entitlement to something or to be treated in some particular way. Rights of consumers are important because they empower people to protect themselves in an economic market. There are various economic rights that a consumer has, one of which is the right to safety. Right to safety, consumers have a right to safety. Any product purchased or any service provided to the consumer has to be safe to their health and to their life. Any injury incurred or any injury expected during the use of the product can be reported to the service providers or the dealers of the product. If you buy a medicine, the pharmacy selling it can be held responsible if the medicine proves harmful. If example again is a gas cylinder. When a gas cylinder is being delivered at home, it is being expected to be checked for any leakage or any misfunctioning of it. Any misfunctioning or any leakage of it can be again redressed to the manufacturers or the suppliers immediately. Here, the safety of the consumer is the utmost important item. The right to be informed. Consumers have all the right to be informed about the quantity, quality, the purity, the date of assurance, the date of manufacturing and also the date of expiry of the products that they are purchasing. All these informations have to be informed to the consumer by the manufacturers and also the dealers. The date of quality assurance, the description of the after sale services, warranty, ingredients, even the nutritional facts have to be mentioned on the products to the consumers. Any avoid of these kind of information, the consumer has a right to question the manufacturers. Apart from all these informations, the consumer also should be informed about the safety precautions to be taken while using a product. To avoid any loss or any injury, such kind of precautions have to be mentioned by the manufacturers. For example, again, when a gas cylinder is being supplied, it is the duty of the supplier to inform that a regulator has to be turned off to turn off the supply of the gas. The next right is right to choose. There are quite a many range of products and goods that are available in the market. The consumer has a right to choose from that range of goods. no manufacturer or dealer has a right to impose their thoughts onto the consumer. Consumers have to be very careful while checking the products through the advertisements and do not get tempted through the advertisements. The right to be heard. Right to be heard can be interpreted in three different ways, one of which is the consumer has to be heard by the decision makers and the policy makers who are making the policies or the decisions for the comfort and the interest of the consumers. The second is the consumer has to be heard by the manufacturers, the dealers and also the advertisers about how exactly is the product, how convenient is the product, does it need any modification. Finally, the consumer has to be heard in the court of law during the legal proceedings in regard to the consumer issues. The right to redress. Any unfair deal or any complaint against the product or the service given to the customer can be redressed in the court of law. That is, any adulteration of the product, any defect in the product, any inconvenience caused to the consumer during the use of the goods or any injury caused during the use of the goods, all these can be legally approached in the court of law, where the right to the consumers are assured through their complaints. They are all attended by the legal authorities. The right also provides a due compensation, that is, any loss or any inconvenience caused by the use of the products can be compensated through the court of law, and the settlement has to be given through the manufacturer or the dealers to the consumer. The right to consumer education. This particular right acquires knowledge and skill needed to make informed, confident choices about the goods and services while being aware of basic consumer rights and responsibilities, how to act on them, how to prevent the market from malpractices and exploitations. This particular right mainly states that the consumer has to be educated regarding the market strategies, regarding the products, the goods. Consumer associations, educational institutions, policy makers have to come forward to educate the consumers. The right to satisfaction of basic needs. This is a basic right that every consumer has to have it, that the basic needs have to be satisfied for every consumer in the country. The basic need for food, shelter, healthcare, education and sanitation have to be provided. The right to a healthy environment. This particular right says that every customer, every consumer has to live and work in a healthy environment. An environment that is non-threatening, an environment that is safe and is well guarded for the future generations. Apart from the rights that the consumer has, the most important thing are the responsibilities of the consumer. Even before enacting the rights of the consumer has to know the responsibilities that one has to take up even before purchasing a good or taking the services from the other vendors. The responsibilities of the consumers can be of various kind, a few of which are critical awareness. Critical awareness is you need to know about the product, about the goods that you are purchasing, the services that you are taking. You need to be alert. You need to have all the right to question about what is the goods that they are manufacturing, how exactly is the service being given, and do not get misled by the advertisements. So be very alert and cautious about the goods. Action. Anything that goes wrong, we just sit back and leave it aside. No, the most important responsibility of the consumer would be act upon it. Action, the responsibility to be ascertained, to act, to ensure that a fair deal is being given to you is very important. Social concern, every one of us purchases goods as we can afford it, but one has to really remember that there is a certain group of society which are disadvantaged and powerless. So our consumption of goods should not affect that particular group. That has to be definitely taken care by every consumer. Environmental awareness. The most important responsibility of a consumer is to be aware against the environmental safety. Any consumption of the goods should not threat or harm the other individual or the environment. Every consumer should act towards conserving and protecting the Mother Earth. Solidarity. Every consumer is using the goods or services, but working towards it individually would not fetch them the right or the responsibility. Everybody, all the consumers coming together and working together for the cause can be more effective. That is, forming different networks, forming different groups, or campaigning, or even holding few programs which can talk about consumer issues can help consumers know more about the consumer issues. Now that we have studied about who is a consumer, what are the rights and responsibilities of the consumer, we'll just look into what exactly a consumer has to do before purchasing a product, or while purchasing a product, or after purchasing a product. There are certain steps that a consumer has to look into before purchasing goods or the services. Let us divide these into 3 different stages. The first one being before buying. Before buying, a consumer has to plan in advance what exactly they want to purchase, what are the different range of products that they have in that, and also list the number of manufacturers that are available for those goods. Also inquire about their past experiences in manufacturing those goods, or also inquire about the past performance rating of that particular goods from that company. That would be the first stage. The second stage can be while buying. While you are buying the goods, first ask for demonstration. How does it operate, how to use it, and what are the services that has to be taken care of. And I'll also inquire about the after sale services of that particular goods. Are they authorized services? Do they have a proper address, telephone number, and are they associated with the company? The next would be detailedly read the warranty or the guarantee cards that are being given by the manufacturers. Next, insist on an approved cash bill so that is an authority for you to take care of the goods. That bill helps you for any kind of further services or re-exchange of the product. The bill has to have a serial number, address, and phone number. Obtaining a warranty guarantee card without a signature or a seal by the dealer would be inappropriate. So obtain a warranty guarantee card with the signature and also a seal of the dealer. That would be the second stage. What would be the final stage? After buying the product, how would you exactly use the goods? Do follow the manual given by the manufacturers as in how to use the goods. Do not use your procedures while using the goods. Keep the bills and the warranty cards very safe. In case of any fault, do not repair yourself. Inform the manufacturer, the dealer, and also the servicer. Keep all the records right from the day of purchase to the repair in whatever correspondence has been happening with the dealer or the manufacturer or even the servicer. Seek immediate redressal if any defect in the product. If anything is wrong in the manufacturing of the goods, or if it is not functioning as per the standards given by the manufacturer, a immediate redressal by the consumer can be taken up in regard to this particular issue. So, any consumer before purchasing the goods has to be very cautious about what exactly they want to purchase, where exactly they want to purchase, and while purchasing it, how exactly does it perform also has to be taken into consideration. And the most important thing that has to be considered is the after sales service. The product that has been purchased, does it have any after sale service? Do the manufacturers provide it, or are they having any franchisee with the other service providers? And also, after buying the product, do follow the manuals that have been given by the manufacturer. Do keep all the records with you, including the bill, the warranty guarantee card, or any correspondence that has happened with the manufacturer or with the servicer. And any defect in the product, please go to the redressal for your benefit. So, what exactly have we learned out of all this topic is a consumer is the king of the market. Consumer would be the king of the market only when he is well educated about the product, knowledgeable about what is the goods made of, what are the services that have been given by the service providers. Consumer has to be well educated first. He or she has to know about the in-depth knowledge about the manufacturing, the usage of the products. Apart from all these that we are talking about, the responsibilities of the consumer, like how to be knowledgeable, how to know about the product, how to be alert, how to be cautious about the society, how to be cautious about the environmental factors. Apart from all these responsibilities, what a consumer has is the rights. Right to be informed, right to be heard, right to be redressed. So, all those rights can be implemented when you are responsible enough towards yourself and towards the society.